Yo, yo, yo. It's me again with the market shenanigans. Week 46 seems like. So, I have quite a few trades here this week. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, 9 trades. Sheesh. Like, if I go to Notion, yes, 9 trades. Quite a lot of stuff, especially, well, I already know that I made some mistakes, which I'm not super happy about, but it's a learning curve, it's a process. I gotta go through it. But this week actually prompted me a little bit to make some more refinements in regards to limitations. I want to like filter out even more price action. I want to trade even less of the actual price action. I really want to have like a checklist of what needs to happen before I start looking for a trade. Basically, I really want to ensure that I only trade in markups from a Wyckoffean perspective and such markets that have big momentum in them. So very strong markets that have strong moves and then trade the markups of the reaccumulations. That's what I want to do. So I'm gonna probably have a few trades that are not so pretty this week, I would expect, but we'll see. We'll see. I think I even traded a stage one, man. It's gonna be cringe. But what can you do? Gotta go through it, gotta admit the mistakes. No other way forward. If I just ignore this, it's gonna creep up on me and until I recognize it and address it, it's gonna keep me from being profitable. So I'm gonna try to approach this with a very positive mind, with a focus on improvement rather than shaming myself and whatnot. So let's get into it. So first trade over here, we have a UK 100 trade, and this is what I think was the stage one. So I'm actually going to check into that. So let's start here with Monday. So I come in Monday, pretty much the only thing I look at is UK 100. So this is the context, right, from the weekly and daily perspective. So after this big flush on the weekly, it started a big run. Okay, we see the flush over here. So here is the supply that I wanted to see break through and some serious selling coming in, which pretty much happens over here. So right above this level, that's pretty much where I would start being interested. And let's just see if this isn't overextended. You know what? Maybe it really is. I don't know. I thought since I'm trading it on such a low time frame, I thought this is a reaccumulation, so this would be MMB1, MMB2. But there is a chance that this is overextended. But also, I can already see on the daily that there is a lot happening in this MMB, a lot of wicks and stuff. So chances are I got involved in something that was already quite choppy after an extended move and likely distributing, reaccumulating, whatever, but it looks like a stage one already, pretty much. So that's that. So now I can go to my EVC, and sure enough, what I can see here is a very, very strong move, right? So this strong move, we want to see it reaccumulate. So I don't want to just see it flush. I want to see it reaccumulate. I want to see a reset. So what is a reset, really? So it's when I have this buying power, demand coming in, and I want to see demand overpowered, right? That's the first step. I want to see some cells come in such a magnitude that we can call it a potential reaccumulation. We don't know if it's going to be a reaccumulation or if it's going to end up being a distribution and the market just turns around and reverses. But we expect, because of the high time frame context, that it's going to be bullish. So whenever we get cells come in, it is for purpose of reaccumulation. That's our anticipation, right? We can never know that actually, but this is our anticipation and this is our edge. So after such an extended move, if I'm somewhere over here, I'm going to want to see like some clear supply overpowering demand. So first I need to identify demand, and demand for me is pretty much here. Should be pretty clear. Like this is a multi-touch support. This is whenever price came in here, it bounced, buyers showed up. So we have proof that demand is here. And for reaccumulation, we want to see demand break. That happens over here. Awesome. Now, between this level and this low, what was like the high that needed to break? Like all the selling that caused the break came from here pretty much. That's how I view it. Maybe it came from here, but this seems a little small. And this also lines up beautifully with this. So right now I would see this as supply. And in order to for a reaccumulation to confirm, I want to see once supply overpowers demand, I want to see the reignition, right? And that is demand overpowering supply once again. And that happens right over here. And it needs to happen with momentum. This is exactly what I want to see. And this is where I would look for a trade, right? This is a perfect spot for a trade. We have a big move that has shown some level of support. That level of support breaks down for reaccumulation. This wave of selling came from over here, and demand has once again proven that it has overpowered supply. Now reaccumulation is confirmed. It's doing that in a very strong fashion. So now I want to follow. I want to follow all of this, like somewhere over here. My expectation is higher, right? But here what it does is just liquidates this level and immediately dies off again. Well, that is a very big sign of loss of momentum. Like when this happens and price fucks off lower, what it's gonna do, almost not not always, but very often from my experience, when it liquidates a high, it's going to look to liquidate a low. It is still in the mode of seeking liquidity. So here we have a low where like we have some lows here and we have this low. So that's what we would suspect to get liquidated. Sure as hell that happens. And here I was just looking at this and I thought, okay, well, I have a supply zone over here. If I can break through it, I should be able to follow. And this is where I think I maybe made a mistake. Like honestly, like after this happened, like as long as it's in an MMB and breaks higher here, that's kind of the expectation. That's still bullish and okay. But the moment we lose juice over here, that's pretty much when I should say, nope, we are now officially in stage one, and I want to see a new breakout above this to continue following somewhere higher. This should no longer be traded, in my opinion. Like the market did everything it's supposed to do in a reaccumulation, and it was supposed to go over here, but it didn't. So yeah, I don't like this 1 hour. I really don't. I think it's already stage one. So as sad as it is, I remember a few weeks ago I was like, don't trade stage one. I already have this rule instilled. Blah blah blah. As you can see, I made a mistake again, and I actually took two trades here, which are going to be two mistakes. So that kind of sucks. And well, this is okay though because it prompted me to actually like look into this more and come up with new refinements and new rules that will ensure that whatever I do in the future is not going to look like this. I'm going to have some rules in place for that. But also, I already introduced the new supply and demand rule. It's the newest rule from like last week. I fully expect myself to make mistakes in it for a couple of weeks probably. Like of course I'm trying my best to instill it, but it's a new thing. It takes some time to get used to. I did some testing with it as well. I mean, I absolutely love the rule, but I need to like adopt it habitually, and that just takes some time. It's pretty much like imagine that you fight in a very specific style, right? You have your Muay Thai style, and all of a sudden you're like, okay, well, I want to add into my arsenal or into my repertoire something new. Let's say, I don't know, Superman punch or something. Well, it's gonna take quite a lot of time to actually properly integrate it into your fighting repertoire and make it completely natural and passive. So it's very similar with these things. Whenever you try to refine some kind of system, whatever you implement, we're not fucking robots, right? Like our thinking has some kind of momentum and inertia. So it only makes sense that these things take a little bit of time to integrate. But yeah, anyway, let's assume this was a nice one. Like I'm already gonna call this a mistake, definitely. Gonna be honest with myself. But let's assume this was in an okay context, and let's just look at the entry itself. Okay, So here I have this one, right? I have a big stage 2 that breaks through some kind of important level, and now I want to see it reaccumulate, right? It starts going sideways, builds up some kind of support over here, and then breaks lower. As it breaks lower, it also breaks into a new high with strong momentum, lots of inefficiency left behind, EMA is rising, everything nice, pulls back into the rising 1020. So of course, I'm very happy to look for a trade here. And what do we have? Well, we have a very, very strong stage 2 that flushes out. Okay, and we already can see, like, on a smaller time frame, I will be able to see that there is some kind of support over here, and that breaks down. There's a supply. I want to see that supply break above, and once it does, I want to buy stop the MB that breaks above that supply. That's exactly what happens. Very, very strong momentum over here, and here it reaccumulates a little bit. Very nice. And I set up my buy stop here. I love this. I really do. Like, if it comes to just a 10-second, 1 minute, and 6 minute, this is perfect. I really, really like it. What I don't like is that I took it in an area that, in my opinion, was just not quite ready yet, I would say. But anyway, what happens actually? So let's go into the trade itself. What happens is I get into the trade, and on this candle over here, I reduce risk. That makes total sense. But I don't go completely risk-free. I reduce risk, so to give it a chance to dip down, reaccumulate a little bit, and continue higher. But it comes all the way back to my intended entry, and this ends up being a spread loss. So yeah, that's cool. But I ultimately traded in stage 1, and that is a mistake. So I'm going to label this up. So just as a context over here. So this is most definitely ugly, and it's ugly because it's a stage 1. The V is epic. I really like it. Good momentum. Yeah, that's all I have to say. And the E is also perfect. The E is perfect. Yes, I will probably add a new property, because I started paying attention to E micro as well. So let's rename this E micro. All right, boop, and here I will do this, boom, and I'm gonna start paying attention to the E micro as well, I guess, because I kind of want to see the reaccumulation before I buy stop. So just going to say perfect here, but I'm going to have to play around with that. And management was very much perfect. But ultimately, this ended up being a mistake. And it's a mistake because it was a stage 1, which is unfortunate. So yeah, that's the first trade. Let's get into the second trade here. Well, I need to mark it up though. Boop. I can just get this one. Okay, it's a mistake. Cool. So we continue on over here on the 1 hour. Well, we already determined this is wrong, so it's a stage 1. Too bad. But let's take a look at this and how I handled this. So here we are in the 6 minute, right? And initially I take my trade somewhere over here. It ends up being a break even. Breaks into a new high. Let's look at the 1 minute. That's going to be nicer. So here it breaks into a new high. Not the most impressive break higher, to be honest. Like this is kind of meh. I don't really see a reason why I would want to follow it. I would probably want to follow it if it did this, and then if it comes back, then it would make much more sense to get involved. But this is just kind of blech, kind of weak. But anyway, it does return into the demand zone. I can clearly see that there is a supply over here. And if it breaks above that, I can buy stop the MMB above it, which it does. This DMB is kind of nice. But the question is, do I really want to trade this demand zone after this? Like comparing the kind of price action we have over here versus the kind of price action we have over here. I don't know if this is strong enough, honestly. I think this is kind of weak. So I'm gonna say weak to this because I don't really like it. So weak. And it looks like I forced an entry. Like the 6 minute is really nice. Don't get me wrong. Well, is it though? I mean, it almost looks like this whole thing is kind of a liquidity grab. I don't know. Like this market was just after this, it was just supposed to go, but it didn't. It went for another pullback into the range. Honestly, I think this is very similar to yeah, this is very similar to what happened over here, right? Liquidity grabs and it fucks off lower, and I'm like, yo, loss of momentum, do not trade. And that's pretty much what happens over here. Like, yeah, it does go a bit higher, but in what fashion, right? Like, what I really want to follow is momentous market when it just boom breaks through and hopefully gives me an entry like that. That would be perfect. This is kind of meh. Here, I would like to see it break higher and set up somewhere over here probably. Like, I will say also momentum fizzled. Like especially with these low entry time frames, like 1 minute, 10 second, and so on. I really want to have as much momentum on my side as possible. And I have recently decided that I'm gonna try my best to uh like look for things that are wrong with the trade. And if there's just a single thing wrong, I should just not take it because why the fuck would I? I know what perfect trades look like, and they don't look like this. So yeah, I mean it hurts to admit a little bit, but like I see what I'm doing here, right? The trade does make sense. It's like one tiny little detail that's missing, but that tiny detail, quote unquote, is really not tiny at all. It's like a essential part of the entire formula. I want to see momentum. This isn't momentum, so too bad. Anyway, C1 was in stage one, so it was ugly. Validation itself was okay. V is, yeah, it's good momentum. But the E over here, well, very questionable. I would say momentum fizzled. I should have that here somewhere. Do I? Well, it does look weak, and I'm gonna say momentum fizzled over here. Is that red? Nope, this is red. Okay, and the E micro, it did reaccumulate, which is nice. So I think E micro was probably quite alright. Yeah, yeah. And how do I actually manage this? So last valid setup, waited for 10 seconds, 10 seconds to react before I set my entry. Yeah, I see. But again, this push was just too weak. I don't like it. So a well-deserved -1. So overall it was a mistake because it was weak and momentum fizzled. Oh, and it was stage one. So a lot wrong with these UK 100 trades, man. Unfortunate. So yeah, mark that up as a mistake as well. So that's all for Monday. Any reflection? UK looked good, so I was forced to trade it. Well, it didn't look that good, did it? So, mm. What is there to say? Well, I by now have things in my system that will prevent me from trading this kind of price action. I will only trade the most pristine stuff, hopefully. Anyway, that's Monday. Let's go to Tuesday, see what happened. So some kind of news, GBP. One sec, just gonna drink. Okay. Most stuff is choppy, expecting a no trade day, but I'm looking at NAS 100 and most importantly at stocks because this is, in my opinion, still in really nice reaccumulation and like some kind of relative outperformers can have demand come in earlier than NAS. So definitely bullish context. We also have UK 100. Well, yeah, I guess, and we have silver, and silver had a big run, it had a flush, build up a sideways stage one, and now breaking out of it, looking very, very good. Okay, and I end up having one trade on a stock. So let's take a look. This is LMD, Lemonade. All right, so weekly, some kind of stage one over here, breakout higher, and now moving higher with very nice, like shallow pullbacks, good momentum cycle. Moved higher now. So let's take a look what happened on the daily. So this little MB over here, that is what we see here. So built some kind of stage one and breaks out higher once again, pulls back, into the rising 1020. Let's see what it looks like on the 60. So this is a big, big move. Definitely somebody pressed the buy button. Now I want to see reaccumulation, right? Lows liquidated, lows liquidated. The last low came from over here, and I want to see that liquidated and buy stop the MB that forms above, which is this one. And that's kind of really nice. Up until the 60, I really like it. But I also implemented a rule on the E-micro where I really want to see the push here that comes higher before I set up a buy stop. I want to see a reaccumulation. And if we take a look at 5 minutes here, because everything should be fractal, right? We're going to have MB 1, 2, 3, 4 already without liquidating any lows whatsoever. So before entering this, I would really, really like to see some selling come in. And then as it rebuilds itself up, that's when I would buy stop it. Okay, so that's just like this push over here. It's already, in my opinion, exhausted, and I want to see it react before I buy stop it. That's a little. It's probably one of the only E-micro rules that I actually have when it comes for stocks and, well, 60-minute entries in general, I would say. And here I have the 5 minute, can be the 2 minute, 3 minute, doesn't really matter. Like you just need to see that there are some like consistent waves up and some kind of reaccumulation before the entry. And we didn't have that here. So no react, no react. But other than that, like, okay, so if here, like all of this is really nice. I really, really like this. But here, if it just like, if there was one more candle maybe that that would liquidate stuff, like we can see that there is already some kind of support build up over here. If we could just see like this liquidated and then something like this, I would be very happy to take it. So overall, it's nice, but yeah, like it's still a mistake. So, all right, let's go into this, I guess. So C1, definitely good momentum. Validation, beautiful, good momentum. Entry, pretty much perfect, very good momentum as well. And here's the E-micro. And for the E-micro, I just think, well, no react. Boom. Honestly, like, I can delete most of these things. Pump into entry, that could stay. There's no MBs for this. Yeah, I'm just gonna have to delete some stuff. Illiquid could be good. Weird could be alright. This doesn't make much sense. Wiki, weak, weird, okay, inconsistent. Not my setup doesn't belong. The pullback doesn't belong. Too early, too late doesn't matter. Okay. Choppy, maybe below diagonal. Lol. Haven't used that in a while. All the MB stuff can go. Also made some refinements to my Notion again, by the way. Works much better now. But I still haven't gotten to cleaning up the tags. I'm gonna have to do that eventually. Lots of them I don't use anymore. Okay. Pump into entry. Yeah, that's all right. This should be red. Okay, choppy, inconsistent, weak. Probably never gonna call anything weak on the E-micro. Weird, probably not. Wiki, probably not. If anything, I'll just call it illiquid. Inconsistent is alright. Choppy could stay. Pump into entry. Yep, I don't like that. Alright, I'm gonna keep it this way. And management wise, so here got into this with a limit as BE rule wasn't quite met yet. That makes sense. So I got into it over here, and if I got entered right above this high, that's when I would break even, but that doesn't quite happen, and I get a -1. And here I write the E-micro didn't reaccumulate. I bought into an extended market. Yep, I totally agree. So overall, this was a mistake, and it was a mistake. Why? Well, I'm gonna have to add a new one. E-micro didn't react. Boom. All right, that's a very new one. eMicro didn't react. Where should I put this? Somewhere higher. I'm gonna put it over here. Okay, that's closed. So that is that. Did I have these two trades closed? Closed. All right. So that's Tuesday. Any reflection? Okay, if I find even the slightest thing wrong with a trade, I should skip it. Yep. This goes hand in hand with the philosophy that trades are actually nuances because they force me to put risk on the line. Yep, I don't want to risk, but my rules tell me I must. Yeah, so if it's being seen from this perspective, where I kind of have to take something that I don't necessarily want, I should really only try to take the absolute best things. So if I see something wrong with it, I should just not take it. It's like if you're picking apples or whatnot, and you see that, okay, well, there are some holes. There's not many. I cannot see worms getting out of it, so could be good. But no, it's not. Just get the best apples. You can, right? I can get the best apples. It's all just me against me and my standards and my discipline and sticking to my rules and my mindfulness of what kind of setups I take. I can definitely do better. So still training myself on that. Anyway, let's go to Wednesday. So, watched a few more things here. I also watched UJ, apparently. So, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's a weekly, so it's kind of okay. Like, generally, this should be a bullish market, but this is kind of like stage one already. Like, okay, so the last wave of buying came from over here. There was some kind of demand. This demand is currently holding. Cool. And here there is a clear accumulation and we're breaking out of it. So I can see what I'm doing here. Like, okay, so here accumulation schematic, right? Supply gets broken through and we are in a markup over here. So that's kind of cool. I'm trading in a markup. Nice. But I already got so spoiled from seeing like big moves on stocks and crypto and whatnot. And how I can select from so many different markets that I can trade, that if this was a stock, right, I would probably not trade it, or if it was a crypto, because well, there would be uh, other assets that just look so much better. So why would I take this one? But it's a forex pair, so it's a little bit different, I guess. But yeah, all right, I'll accept this context. I think this context is all right for a forex pair. So that's that. NAS 100, of course, continuing to watch that. I mean, NAS 100 itself, I still want to see this supply over here broken through higher. That's just my reaccumulation rules, but that doesn't stop me from understanding that this is in a bullish context that's currently reaccumulating, and I can look for stock price, right? That's the main reason why I have it here. UK 100, still looking at that apparently. Okay, yeah, makes sense. Very, very bullish. And silver. So I watched silver already, and yeah, it's breaking higher over here from this stage one. So that's nice. So gold became interesting with New York Open as well. All right, so wow, many trades here. So let's get into those. So UJ, right? I already said that I think that UJ was all right. So my EVC will be valid. So here's a 60 minutes, right? Some kind of long as stage one. So let's see. Let's see, after it fails the reaccumulation over here, that's pretty much where I would stop being interested overall, and I'm looking for a break higher. Break higher happens on big momentum, really nice, pulls back into MMB1 and now continues higher. We're definitely in markup here on the 60, so that's nice. Here I am on the 6 minute. So what's going on? Some kind of big move that definitely made it valid for me to look for trades over here. Like one of the qualifiers for me to trade a reaccumulation is the preceding stage two, right? I want this stage two to be very strong, and it looks like this one is very strong. You can see that already over here. It's very strong. Cool. But then it breaks higher here, right? Okay, so here is the reaccumulation. Pretty clear, and I would say all of those cells, like the highest level is over here, that also lines up with this supply and whatnot. Maybe I could already look over here and yeah, well, either way, what I want to get to is all of this is very, very choppy. Like even if I look at the 1 minute over here, so the breakout level is somewhere over here. Okay, and like if I look at what's happening over here, this is all so choppy, like very, very choppy wiki and whatnot. But here, as it breaks out, it clears out a little bit and has clear momentum behind it. Looks kind of all right. So I'm like, okay, if this reaccumulates, I should be able to take it. And what does it do? Well, it starts liquidating lows, just like reaccumulation does. Very nice. This is the last low, and that low came from, well, the last selling came pretty much from here. But if I want to be very strict, I could say the highest between these 2 points is over here. And I want to see this level broken and just follow somewhere over here, especially since I can trade it on the 10-second, right? But I look at this supply for some reason. Maybe that's a mistake. I'm not exactly sure yet. Probably. But anyway, it breaks higher. And here I'm like, okay, I'm willing to buy stop the MMB that forms above or like a DMB inside of it, right? And here I am on the 10-second. Okay, so I have this first push that reaccumulates, and here a new stage 2. That stage 2 is decently strong, but it pulls back. And I mean, if this is supposed to be a 10-second entry, then well, it's the inside ICI. Okay, it's the inside ICI. Hmm. Okay. Wow, it's been a while since I had a UJ trade. But anyway, let me think about this for a little bit. So, hmm, stage 1, break MMB1, MMB2, definitely tradable, and it does this. I mean, yeah, it looks alright. Looks okay. Even if this is stage 1 or something, this would be MMB1, and this is now MMB2. It's kind of alright. Yeah, it's fine. Like this entry is okay, I think. But, oh, I actually took the entry over here above this high. So I buy stopped the MMB on the 1 minute. I see. Well, that's definitely definitely a way to get in. Definitely valid. But still, I think the problem here, and this goes hand in hand with being like super strict with my entries and ensuring that I get involved in the markup, is that I should probably wait for this to break higher. That's what my most updated rules tell me, and that's how I'm going to see this. So here, I'm just gonna write too early, yeah, because I got involved a little bit too early. This flush, that was okay, was below the EMAs, but this entire thing, I gotta say, it's a bit wiki. It's a bit wiki. Don't like that too much. This was good. The entry, the entry was okay as well. So yeah, ideally I would have wanted to see this go here, then hopefully like reaccumulate and do something like this. This would be perfect. I would absolutely love this. But yeah, that didn't quite happen. Hoo-wee. Okay. So what happens here? I get tapped in and I get instantly fucked up. Maybe I should have marked up. I even write it here. Okay, cool. Yeah, I should have. Maybe I should have marked up the higher supply and wait for that to break. And then once it broke like this, honestly, this is not enough strength. Like I would have wanted to see momentum through the level. If anything, like this looks like a liquidity grab, and most likely I wouldn't even look for an entry over here. I'm not sure. Probably not. So yeah, that's too bad. Uh-huh. Okay, so C2 is a stage 1 breakout. The context over here is it's okay. It's okay, but I'm gonna say that it's a little bit choppy wiki. The validation was just too early. Yeah, too early. Uh, questionable. Too early. Yeah, too early. And the E micro. Oh, that was pretty good. I mean, yeah, that was a valid entry. I mean, there's nothing to really fuck up there. So, yeah. Yeah, okay. E-micro nothing, management-wise nothing to do, so that was perfect. But overall, it's going to be a mistake. And it's going to be a mistake. Why? Because too early. Yeah, too early and a little bit choppy wiki. Isn't choppy and wiki like the same thing? Choppy wiki? Shouldn't I just have one? I guess so. Anyway, mistake. So moving on, UJ, next trade. So what happens over here? Let's take a look at the 1 minute. Okay, so 1 minute breaks through. Again, looking at this, not the strongest breakout. Not the strongest breakout. Okay, so this is the high. Definitely like supply has not been liquidated yet. Like the expectation is of course this. But all right, well, what does it do here? So I can go to the 10-second, right? We have the stage 2. Nice momentum, nice little momentum cycle. Here it goes sideways, 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 and it liquidates this level. So this definitely qualifies as a reaccumulation. And here it does this. To be honest, I do like this. Like I definitely like this more than the previous trade. Like, okay, maybe this is not the strongest breakout, but it's not just a liquidity grab and a quick fuck off, right? So I think this is kind of alright. This is a pretty nice entry. Uh, this one I might take again if I had the chance. Yeah, I think this one is alright. Like maybe, mhm. Maybe I could have waited for something above like this, maybe, but I think this is okay. I would take this trade again, is what I'm saying. So, stage 1 breakout on good momentum. But that's C2, right? Yeah, it is. So here I just have, yeah, relatively good momentum, I would say, but a little bit weak. It's the same V as before. The E, it's okay. You know, as I said, I would have liked this to be stronger. Could be stronger. Yeah. So I'm gonna say that it's a little bit weak. And you can see I'm being like extremely like diligent with the type of stuff that I write here. Like anything that's wrong, I'm trying to mark it up and see whether it's super relevant or not. But ideally, I would just filter all of this out, honestly. So yeah, that was weak. Could have definitely waited here and just like, you know, wait for this. No, it's all right. And the E, oh, this was this. The E is kind of okay. Again, could be a little bit stronger. So I'm gonna also say weak. Uh, weak. And the well, there's no E micro here, right? Oh man, I got so confused with this crap. Ah no, this the this is the 10 second. The 10-second I think was kind of perfect. Yeah, and the 1 minute is the questionable weak one. Yes, yes. Okay. Management wise, what happened? Well, it taps me in and pretty much instantly fucks me up. There's an argument to be made that maybe I could have been break even after this, especially since UJ has such a tight um, tight spread. So I pretty much got tapped in like one tick above. So this already has shown enough strength. Like if this is markup, it can just go, right? Maybe this could have actually been prevented. Hmm, questionable. Well, I usually like to see the high formed and then a breakthrough, but if it's far enough, like these two big bullish candles, I think I can just reduce risk completely. So actually, like this is one of the rare moments where I'm gonna say that I didn't reduce risk on time. Wow, what a week, man. What a week. So many mistakes. That sucks. All right, it's too early. What else was there? And didn't reduce risk on time. Do I have anything about risk? Yes. Didn't reduce risk. Okay, closed, and that's it. Next, I have a UJ trade again. So let's take a look what happens here. So this is a bit later, is it? What's going on here? No, it's in the same area. So the 1 minute, I mean, let's take a look at the 10-second. Okay, so where did I originally get involved? Excuse me? Where are we? I'm so confused. This looks different. This looks different. Oh, okay, I see, I see. So this part is this part. Okay, I see. I'm back. So this what happened. Topped off a little bit, reaccumulated, moved higher with big momentum and pulled back into the rising 1020. This is really nice. I like this a lot. So here we have some kind of reaccumulation, right? Okay, okay. Lows being liquidated. Very nice. And the last low came pretty much from here. I mark up the supply and I'm like, okay, yep, this is the supply. I need a move above. And here I do have a move above and I see this as a 1 minute entry. Okay, so this liquidated this, right? So my thinking here is, okay, so I have a MMB here, and if it goes higher, it should be in markup, right? Like it already liquidated, so if it is just a redistribution, it should fuck off lower. So that's my thinking here, I'm pretty sure. Do I write anything? No, not really, but I understand where I'm coming from here. This makes a lot of sense, but honestly, eh, honestly, I would much rather see a bigger breakthrough and then something like this. That would, in my opinion, be better. Because, yeah, like I want to see a move through here, right? I want to see demand clearly overpowering supply, overpowering, not just not just doing this. So maybe too early again. But also maybe I'm also seeing this as a DMB, like a momentous DMB in a reaccumulation, right? And it also broke above this high here. I think this trade is all right, like because there's an argument to be made that the last supply is actually here. Okay, so it broke through all of this with a nice momentous DMB. So if I could take this trade again, would I? I think so. Yeah, I think I would. I think this trade is actually nice. So the stage one is over here. Here it breaks higher into an MMB, and if it breaks higher here, that's a very nice entry. So I actually kind of like this trade. This trade's cool. Yeah. Okay. At least this one is not a mistake. So what happens? Taps me in. Not quite enough strength yet. As you can see, I already put this line here. If it taps me just a tiny bit above, I'm risk-free because, well, it did everything it has to. If it wants to go to a markup, it should just fucking go, 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 right? And yeah, it taps me in, and literally a few seconds later, it taps me out. And yeah, it even saves me -1. So very, very good risk management here. That was nice. Okay, so 60, is it the 60? No, it's this one. So this is definitely good momentum. The 6 minute is definitely good momentum, and the 1 minute is a good entry. Good entry, but potentially too early. I already started testing, and I just need to make up my mind about entries like this. Am I gonna need to see a big move through, or is it okay if it just liquidates and then getting into that reaccumulation? Honestly, I would much rather see this that I drew in here. That would like if I saw that on my Miro and I would be doing my batch analysis right now, I would be like, oh yeah, this is beautiful, perfect. But here I'm like, questionable. So I'm going to include that in the tags. Yeah, too early. So ultimately, well, I'm going to mark it up as a mistake. Well, tough to say. Like as I said, I will take this trade again right now, but I might change my mind very soon. So I'm gonna call this one a good actually, just just for once. All right, next up, man, I have three more trades, huh? Insane. So this was a mistake, and this one was good. All right, and was this one good? Yeah. So here we go into a stock trade. So light. This is as clear as it can be on the weekly. Very, very bullish market. Here we are on the daily. We had some kind of reaccumulation over here, so this is most definitely a reset, I would say. And from there, we had MMB1, and this whole thing is probably MMB2, I would say. So if there are any flushes with DMB buildups, I think I should take that. So here we are on the 60. And what happens? Strong stage 2 reaccumulates. Again, strong stage 2 reaccumulates. Here, well, what happens? I would like to see price move above this, which it kind of does. But again, like kind of weak. Like I would much rather see this do something like this. That would be so much nicer. That being said, like this stage 2, yeah, it's pretty strong. Like looks like reignition, right? So this should be technically valid. The EMA start rising and all of that stuff, looking kind of okay. But it's the same issue as with the last trade. Like, is this enough? Is this proof that we're in markup? I'm not sure. I would call this range shenanigans, honestly. Like, it's very similar to this. I would just love to see it break through higher, and I can then either enter it like directly as an MMB entry, or I can enter it as an ICI inside that MMB entry. Either way would be fine. But this, I don't know. I don't like it too much. I don't like it too much. Weak. All right. So do I write anything? I actually missed this because I didn't notice New York opened. Fuck. Could have gotten in with a limit, but I missed that too. Yeah, I do remember that. I was a bit frustrated about that. I think I played a chess game or some shit. Uh, Still got a limit set as BE rule isn't met yet. Okay. Didn't manage to get in because here it meets BE rules. Would be risk free, but it would return for a break even anyway. So, yep, I didn't take it because I didn't pay attention, which automatically makes it a mistake. Well, so if I could right now, would I take this entry? No, I wouldn't. Okay, but I totally intended to. So that's kind of a problem. Okay, let's mark it up. So the high time frames are pretty good. I do like those. And good momentum on the weekly and daily, but the entry is ugly because it's weak. Yeah. And eMicro, there's nothing about eMicro here really. Like eMicro should reaccumulate, and mm, this just looks ugly as well. Don't quite know what to say about it here. But anyway, management wise, well, there was nothing to do, right? Yeah. So that is that. Next trade was what? Some gold trades. Okay. So gold after months and months finally got into a context where it's valid again. And I had some kind of supply here. I don't have it in the contexts. I don't have it in the context because it only got valid after New York Open and I didn't update it. But yeah, there was some kind of big supply here, right? And price got into that, started chopping below, and then broke out on huge, huge momentum. That's actually exactly what I want to see. I really like this. So here I'm on the 6 minute, right? Some kind of stage 1 nonsense sideways market, breaks out with big momentum and pulls back. So here I'm on the 1 minute. This is the stage 2, pulls back into the rising 1020, exactly what I want to see. And on the 10 second, big stage 2, breaks down for reaccumulation, right? Some kind of flows liquidated, some kind of flows liquidated. Very nice. And now I mark up the supply over here, and I want to see price break through and give me an MMB above that I can buy stop. And here Yeah, I mean, it's all right, but again, it's the same kind of problem as in the last two trades, right? Like, I would like to see this break out a little bit stronger and then give me an entry. Like, this is just a little meh. Like, this is nothing, you know? Like, just let this go, let it break down again, and rebuild itself, and then buy stop it. This is just meh. I don't like it too much. Or, well, this was already like I can see on even lower time frame. These are already waves higher, right? So I should wait for this wave, the bigger wave, to exhaust itself and then rebuild itself. Or I could wait for an entry that just kind of is one big move higher and does this. That would be valid too. But this is, I think this is too early. Yeah, too early, but everything else is really, really nice. So C2, stage 1 breakout on good momentum. Yep. C1, very good momentum. Uh, Validation over here looks super good. Good momentum. And the entry itself, well, the entry is where there's a problem. I don't like this one because it's a bit too early. Yeah. Nothing with eMicro management wise. Well, yeah, it taps me in and pretty much instantly fucks me up. And this is what I was waiting for, right? Like at this point, this was the supply. Price has clearly shown that it wants to move higher consistently. So now if it would build up, I should get a trade and I should get in. So yeah, could have definitely filtered this one out. So ultimately, again, it's a mistake. Wow, this week sucks, man. All right, too early, and the decision was a mistake. Okay, closed. So moving on, last trade of the week is gold as well. So here I didn't take this. Cool, cool. Mistake, mistake. Okay. All right. And last trade of the week is gold as well. And what do we see here actually? So I can be on the 10-second, right? Because you can see the previous trade was over here. That kind of failed. Here it went lower. I can see that there is some kind of like stage 1 nonsense happening. And then, well, I think I trade this as a 1-minute entry. Is that so? Yes, because I buy stopped the entire high over here after the reaccumulation, which makes total sense. Yeah, this is nice. Uh, Good. Fractal stage 2 here, breaks down, does some kind of nonsense, some kind of stage 1, and then breaks out on big momentum. Yep, I really, really like this one. So this is much, much better than the previous entry. The previous entry I could have filtered out. It was too early. This was on time. This was perfect. And by the way, I could have entered either through the high here, or if there was an ICI over here, I could have entered as well. So that was good. So what is this? Stage 1 momentum. Stage 1 breakout. Good momentum. Okay. Good momentum. Good momentum. Perfect entry. Nothing with eMicro management. So, okay. Goes a little bit higher. Nothing quite yet. Pulls back for an MMB. And as it breaks higher on this candle, that's when I reduce my risk. And that keeps me in. And as it pumps here with the next candle, I go completely risk-free. And that delivers to plus 4.8. Nice. So that's my only win for the week. And I'm very grateful for it because if I didn't get this win, man, the week would be pretty sad. So this was a perfect trade. Good decision to take it. And yeah, management was perfect. So reflection, UJ trade seemed well timed. Well, yeah, I agreed on that. I'm dumb. Light was my number one pick for the day, and I didn't pay attention to New York Open. I could have gotten in. True, I already found out a way how to deal with that. I have my clock app, and it rings at 15:27, which is 3 minutes before New York Open. So whatever I do, I can just stop and pay attention to the market. So should not happen again. And yeah, I need to get better at this. Makes sense. And that was Wednesday. Okay, let's close that. Here we have Thursday. So you can see I already started adding this alarm 1527. It's here every single day. So that's not going to happen again. So some kind of context. We already went over all of these. I just added gold. Just want to show how gold actually looks like. So on the weekly, pretty damn strong. On daily, just flushed out and rebuilt itself up. So following this on the super low time frames makes total sense. Okay, gold and silver looking decent. We'll check stocks for New York Open. Must set alarms. I do all of that, but looks like nothing happens. Calling it a day at 17:30. Cool. So that was Thursday. Now take a look at Friday. There's nothing here on Friday. I actually checked the markets in the morning, saw that they're absolute trash, and I went to the gym. So I'm just gonna write that down here. I'll write it here. I then came back for New York just to check, and New York was trash too. All right, and that's all for the week. This was perfect. Yep, that's all for the week. So if I take a look at this week, overall, I'm at minus 1.8. I already added it to my forward test over here. So this is the equity curve, and I'm currently in a minus 14.3 DD still. Overall, a lot of losses, and there's going to be a lot of mistakes, man. A lot of mistakes this week, probably the most in the last maybe 3 months or something. I don't know what was wrong with me, but it's usually like the weeks after implementing some kind of new rules are very volatile because, well, I did something new to the already established, well-established system, and it just confuses me a little bit. But I expect this to be better over time. But yeah, I accumulated 6.6 R of mistakes this week. Oof, that's rough. So I traded stage one on the high time frame on UK 100. All of this could have been filtered out very, very easily. This stock, while the E-micro didn't reaccumulate, something that I could have most definitely filtered out with this rule. So that was avoidable. The UJ trades over here, well, what were they? They were too early and they were choppy or whatnot. Oh, okay, only two of them are mistakes, I see. One of them was actually good. Okay. So I think this is mostly with the entry because it's all regarding the break above the supply, and the break was weak in those. So in the future, I'm really, really going to want to see strong breaks above supplies before I follow that market. Because if it's just a tiny, tiny move above, I should expect that to be a liquidity grab. So here, why did I mark up this as a mistake? Because I didn't take it, but also it was ugly and weak. Okay, I see. Hmm. Wish there was some column here that like says exactly what kind of mistake it was and where. Maybe I'll play around with that a little bit. Okay, and then I had a gold one, a gold mistake, and again the gold mistake was also the same stuff. I think the entry was, yeah, it was here. This is not strong enough for a breakout, honestly. And if anything, like after this is already like quite an extended move. I definitely would want to see this reaccumulate before I enter. So yeah, something to pay attention to. So what am I going to write down here? Let's go here, copy this. So what went well? I don't know, man. Like, oh, if I traded perfectly, by the way, I would have only taken these three trades and I would be up 4.4. Wouldn't that be nice? Two BEs and a win. Man, I wish. One day I'm gonna be able to trade like this. I promise. But yeah, what went well? What went well? Not much, honestly. Like, I don't have much good to say. Like, I guess if I compare it to the past months and so, I was generally still patient, but I did make a lot of mistakes this week, so not much went well this week. Not much. All right, and what went bad? So, struggled with, whoa, what the fuck? Okay. Struggled with new S&D rule. Most entries were too early. And I traded a stage 1, high time frame stage 1, which sucked. So let me find these over here. I'm going to make some screenshots. So this is the stage 1 stuff. Okay. And here are the entries that are too early. So this one. Okay. What other entry was too early? This one, most definitely. Get a little smaller. All right, and I think there was one more, at least. One more entry that was a stage 1, I mean, a supply breakout. Yeah, this one. Too early here as well. Honestly, I think there's one more here. Slight UJ. No, this one is alright. Okay, so the lesson is going to definitely be to focus on stronger breakouts. Don't enter too early. Yeah. I'm going to copy these things over. Okay. So that's that. I'm glad that I got that one win because otherwise this would be quite a painful week. But hey, that happens. It's all a learning curve, you know. Like, progress generally works in a way where I take a couple of steps forward and then hopefully less steps back. And as I do this over and over, I generally move forward. This is just one of those weeks where I take a few more steps back, but overall I'm hopefully still on a very, very positive trajectory. So that's how I'm going to perceive it. Of course, I'm taking notice of all of this. I'm going to read it throughout the next week, and I'm going to try my best to not make these mistakes again. And yeah, I'm really doing well in that regard. Like, all of these things, I do go over them. I do draw in new things and come up with new simplifications that hopefully will allow me to do exactly what I want to do without much of a fail rate. And yeah, just gonna continue doing my thing until it's perfect. But until then, I guess I'm gonna. Oh, wait, not until then. Let me write down the results. Totally forgot about that. Minus 1.8. And results had I traded perfectly, plus 4.4. Okay. So yeah, that's it. How long is this video? Probably quite long, huh? Wow. Yeah, 63 minutes. Okay, see you next week.